Let me say something that I don't think is very controversial. I do not like meetings. Let's meet up. No, let's get back together after the intro and talk about it.
This is your daily dose of veterans intel. This is all about the military and veterans community. Hey, we're talking about news you could use. Tune in, you're not going to want to miss this. I'm not doing this for ego. I have plenty of ego. I'm doing this to help people live their best veteran life.
I do not like them on Zoom. I do not like them in a room. I don't like them in a hall, and I don't like them in a mall. Whether it be face-to-face or on a screen, I do not like meetings. So there you go. I do not like meetings, but if you know me, you know I don't say I don't like things without having some idea about how I would fix it. So let's talk about that. The first thing we have to do is mothball the word meeting and bring in the word muster. So that is step one of creating this new muster culture. Rebranding. What do you think of when you think of meetings? Nothing great, right? Now, musters in the military, they were efficient, they were quick. It was sit, kneel, stand, you got the information, you were on your way, dismissed to execute. Now, a veteran muster, everybody's gonna get a chair and we vote. It's not as authoritative, but we get the information quickly, efficiently, then we go on about our business. Doesn't that sound better? So everything is going to be off to a great start if we just get to rebranding. Think muster from here on out. Step two of creating that muster culture is taking that agenda and encapsulating it in an itinerary. Now, an agenda or a list of activities that are going to happen does not have to be boring. It could be designed like in Canva, into like a poster, an informative poster. Now minutes, those have to be boring. This does not. And on this document, you can decorate it and have a theme for the month. Maybe it's a theme like Law and Order that month. Maybe it's a theme like Children and Youth. Maybe it's the Marine Corps birthday and Veterans Day. And it can be anything. And also on this itinerary, we're going to have, you're going to start with everything that's going on that day. If you're having a meal or snack or camaraderie social hour or anything that's happening before the meeting, list that before the meeting element of your itinerary. Then you get to the meeting element of your itinerary, and anything that happens after, you put it on there as well. And maybe at the bottom, you highlight some events that are coming up in the next week or two. That is a document that people might even take home because it has enough valuable information. All right, so let's talk about setting up that agenda component. Yes, you have to do business, so you will write out the agenda that you have to do for that. Now next, I want you to think about the pomp and circumstance. Many people don't do it. Many people like to advocate on behalf of young veterans because everybody wants to be an expert in young veterans, and we've heard that they don't like pomp and circumstance. Well, my post inducts new members every single month of all age groups. And let me tell you, they appreciate that first impression of getting sworn in, of being accepted by their new comrades, getting voted in and then getting applauded after they've sworn in. And then they get a little chance to introduce themselves. It is a great first impression and allows them to introduce themselves to the group. I suggest that you do that. And I mean, do all of the opening ceremonies, do all of those things, because those things add a significance to their membership instead of just, hey, thanks for the money, you're in now. The next thing you want to put on this meeting element agenda is you want to add 10 to 15 minutes of value add. And what do I mean by value add? I mean, you have speakers come in, you have other organizations come in and present what they do. Maybe that's Team RWB, maybe that's Team Rubicon, maybe it's Irreverent Warriors, or in Hollywood we have Veterans Media and Entertainment. But there are other organizations out there that have value for your members. Invite them to speak, create a community, make your organization the hub of all veteran activity, and you will see the benefits. For this last part of the meeting agenda, this is something that I really suggest. I really suggest creating a Legion organization connection. Too many posts exist only within their walls, but we, as veterans, we signed up to be a part of something bigger than ourselves when we joined the military. Why wouldn't we want to be something bigger than ourselves in our veterans service? And the post might do that, but there's even a bigger picture out there. And I suggest taking something either from one of the many newsletters that Department and National put out, or just go to their website and read their headlines. Take something from that and just make a mention. One connection to National, one connection to Department, and boom, you've got people realizing that the organization exists outside of the post boundaries. Step 3 of creating that muster culture. Think of everything as a story. That itinerary and that agenda, that is a bilateral communication between the organizational leadership and the members. And the organizational leadership has the role of telling the story of the organization. Now, with the reports that come up, you're telling where we have been, because those reports talk about like what the committees have done and what's been going on. Then we have the business, which is talking about where we're going. So now you're getting the story of where we've been and where we're going. Then to get the character identity of the organization, you go back to those reports, and also, you know what? You go back to that pomp and circumstance. That tells people who you are as an organization, and it gives people who attend meetings, it gives people who just joined up something to talk about. I was marched in there, they voted me in, I got sworn in, the commander swore me in, and the chaplain explained the emblem. I turned around, I saluted my comrades, I introduced myself, talked about my service, what I'm doing now, and I really felt welcome, and it was a great, great first impression. That's a story that sells. Step 4 of creating that muster method is running an efficient meeting. Now, I wish this didn't have to be said, but whomever is holding the gavel needs to have a basic understanding of the organization's bylaws and Robert's Rules of Order. Because running a meeting, as one of the students at the last Legion College said, it's not about trying to control people. It's about being efficient and not wasting everyone's time. Step 5 in creating that muster method is learning the 3 I's. What are the 3 I's? I'm glad you asked. I'd be happy to share them with you. One is you need to be informative, and the meetings take care of that. Number 2 is you need them to be interesting. And if you have that guest speaker, you're going to get some things that are interesting, and hopefully the committees are going to bring some things up that are interesting. And the last thing, it needs to be invaluable. Nothing's actually invaluable, but valuable doesn't start with an I, so I made it invaluable. So while I am still adamant about the fact that I do not like meetings, I am certain that I will love musters. I know this without anybody ever having implemented one. And that's up to you, my special agents. I want you out there in meetings that you are in charge of, and I want you to implement some of these things. You probably won't be able to implement them all at once, but change, and this is really necessary. This meeting paradigm is choking our organization. And if we keep up with it, our organizations will suffer, and so will the veterans who would benefit from being in our organization, because we're driving them away when we could be drawing them in.